All right, solving absolute value and quadratics by the square root method. So first, absolute value expressions are isolated. Solve both equations and set it as a solution set. So I want to go over absolute values real quick. So if you have an absolute value, so say you have like the absolute value of -4. That's going to equal 4. Absolute value is always the distance from 0 when you're working with numbers. So if we think about a number line, and it's the distance, so distance always has to be positive. So -4, that's 4 away from 0. +4 is also 4 away from 0. Okay, so like the absolute value of -11 would be 11. The absolute value of 1004 would be 1004. Okay, so absolute values, they just have to pop out the positives. Now when you're working with the equations of them, that means something special. So if we have the absolute value of x equals 2, that means the distance that x is away. Words are hard. So we can plug in +2 in there and get a +2 out, or you could plug in -2 in there and get a -2 out. So we're going to set the inside of that equal to positive and -2, which means our answer is 2 and -2. This one, we're going to set the inside equal to positive and negative, so that's going to be 5x equals +40 and 5x equals -40. Solve that for x, so you get x equals 8. Divide by 5 there, and you get x equals -8. This one, again, set the inside equal to positive and negative, so that's going to be 4n plus 2 equals 34, and 4n plus 2 equals -34. Solve that for n. Subtract the 2, you get 32. Divide by 4, you get 8. Here you get -36. Divide by 4, and you get -9. So it's 8 and -9. Okay, if there's stuff outside the absolute value bars, isolate the absolute value. So just get it by itself first and then do everything the same way. So here we're going to subtract the 2 over and you get c, absolute value of c equals 10. So that means c equals 10 and c equals -10. Pretty simple. This one, we have to get rid of that 6, so we're going to divide by it first. So you get absolute value of x equals 4. So that's going to be x equals 4 and x equals -4. This one, we have 2w minus 4 over 6 equals 3. Got to get rid of that division, so we're going to multiply by 6. So 2w minus 4 equals 18. Well, 2w minus 4 equals 18, and 2w minus 4 equals -18. Subtract that, or add that 4 over, you get 22. Divide by 2, you get 11. Add that 4 over, you get -14. Divide by 2, you get -7. Cool. Okay, let's do these by square root now. So this is if it's in like the form of x to the nth power minus n equals 0, that means that x equals positive or negative n. So you have to put that positive or negative because it could be positive or negative. Like think of the number 9. So you can get 9 by doing 3 squared, because that would just be 3 times 3. You could also get it by doing -3 squared, because that would be -3 times -3, which also equals 9. So you have to have that plus and minus. So here we have x squared minus 64 equals 0. Add the 64 over, square root both sides, and you get x equals plus or minus 8. Here, we have to get the x squared by itself, so subtract the 5, and you get x squared, 81x squared equals 16. Divide by 81, you get x squared equals 16 over 81. Square root both sides. So that's going to be the square root of 16 over the square root of 81. Anytime you have a fraction, you can break it up like that. The square root of 16 is 4. The square root of 81 is 9. So that's plus or minus 4/9. This one, we're going to add the 1, or subtract the 1 over, you get 16. Divide by 8, you get x squared equals 2. Square root both sides. You can't break down the 2, so that's just going to be plus or minus square root of 2. This one, add the 3 over, you get -108. Divide by 9, you get -12. Square root both sides. This is where we have to simplify this and pull out that I and break down the square root. So if we do this, the I comes out, and that becomes an I. 12 breaks down to 2 and 6, which is 2 and 3, so we can pull out that 2. So this is going to be x equals plus or minus I, 2I square roots of 3. Okay, this one, so subtract the 4, you get 81, negative 81, divide by 3, you get 27. Now we square root both sides. Now the square root of 27, we have to break that down. So that's going to be 3 times 9, which is 3 times 3. So this is going to be x equals plus or minus 3 square roots of 3. Don't leave it like this. We want this form. This one, add the 1, and you get, or subtract the 1, you get negative 40. We're going to multiply both sides by negative 2 to get rid of that fraction. So you get x squared equals 80. Square root both sides. If you break down that 80, so 80, that's 2 and 40, which is 2 and 20, which is 2 and 10. So that's going to be 2, oh wait, and it's 2 and 5 again. 2 times 2, which is where you get the 4, and then square roots of 5. Cool? Okay, save the last couple. Remember to take the quiz, and I will talk to you guys later.